beauty queens, beauty kings, and every beauty in between. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name's Faith. Today we're going to get into a little something that's also going to be on our blog. So to dive a bit deeper into this topic, you can always visit me on faithinganellis.com, and there will be a blog post. I'll also link that below. That's just kind of going to give you a little bit more information. We are going to discuss the differences between a diet and a lifestyle change. So let's jump into that, break each one apart a little bit, and talk about how to actually get started. First off, I do want to make a disclaimer. Remember, I am not a registered dietitian. I'm not a medical professional. This is based on my years of experience being in the fitness and health industry, as well as my own personal research and my opinions. I've also dealt with personal experience as far as dieting culture and actually implementing those lifestyle changes. I do want to let you guys know that everything I research is backed by scholarly. I can never say that word. It's not information that's found on like WebMD or Wikipedia. It's from actual science-backed educational online formats. I cannot think of that word. First off, let's talk about what it is when you say diet. What exactly is a diet? And I have show notes today. I never have show notes. So I made show notes, which is just basically an outline of what I want to hit on. Now, Oxford actually defines a diet as restricting specific foods to lose weight. You'll also hear a lot of times a diet just refers to, what you eat. So like my diet is made up of proteins and carbs and fruits and vegetables and healthy fats. So it can potentially be a pretty broad term. But more recently, in the past, I would say decade or whatever, diet is usually referring to managing the consumption of food or restricting specific food groups in an effort to actually lose body fat and lose weight. Losing weight also gets a little bit misconstrued too, because there's a difference in losing weight on the scale and losing body fat, but we're not going to get into that today. So usually, a diet it can be a fad diet. So something like a low carb diet. It can be, the keto diet. You've got the Mediterranean diet. There are so many diets out there right now. It's ridiculous. And it's overwhelming for most people. So usually a diet is utilized to lower or reduce obesity. Again, like I said, it is managing your consumption of food most often. And more often than not, dieting can be linked to eating disorders. Unfortunately, a lot of diets now focus on restricting specific food groups, and you have a lot of diets who kind of categorize foods into good, healthy foods and foods into bad foods. Like, you absolutely need to abstain from, whether that is potatoes or dairy or sugar. I apologize, my nose is running today. I'm gonna take a sip. I'm thirsty. Now, the problem with diets is it puts you in a very unhealthy mentality. And again, it focuses more often than not on restriction. Restriction tends to lead to more restriction, and it puts a lot of pressure on yourself as a as an individual and as a human being, to where if you deviate from that restriction, basically you feel like you've lost all control, and then you try to compensate by restricting more. This happened to me in my fitness journey when I first started, 6 years ago. It started with restricting sugar and managing how much carbs I was intaking. And then if I had a day where I indulged, I would compensate the next day by restricting everything, right? And it gets you into this spiral of that more often than not for everybody, but for the majority of people. And then your body starts to starve within these specific categories, and emotionally you, I think, just starve for enjoying life, because sugar is not inherently bad. The thing, more specifically, the thing with sugar is, I don't care what anybody says, sugar is addicting. It triggers something within your brain, and I don't remember now what it's called, but it does trigger something into your brain to where you want more. For me, with my past history and with, I know my body and I know my mind, and for whatever reason, with sugar, it's extremely hard for me to be able to enjoy a little bit of it and step away. For me, if I kind of like have a taste, and it can depend on what kind of sugar, but if I kind of like have a taste, it's really hard for me to not want more. And again, I think that some of that comes up to the chemical products and the chemical properties that food industries implement into specific foods, because they do want you to buy more. Now, a lot of people will categorize fruit into this as well. But what we don't differentiate is that fruits, they do have sugar. It's a different form of sugar. Its properties are different. It is a natural form of sugar versus if you went to the store and bought like a cake or something. It's very different. Of course, an apple or a piece of fruit has a much lower calorie density, and they are, they provide other nutritious values. And that's what a lot of people don't take into consideration. They totally do away with a food group without realizing, yes, it probably has carbs or sugar or whatever the format may be, but it also has so many other nutrients in it that are going to help your body operate efficiently and effectively like it's designed to do. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent and I apologize. So basically, a diet in more modern terms now is restricting food consumption or restricting food groups in an effort to lose body fat. So moving on into what is a lifestyle change. Now, your more like nutrient focused group of people, not your like weight loss group of people, but those who are focused on getting in specific nutrients, they're gonna tell you that they're not on a diet, we're in a lifestyle change, which I just love that, because I still flip back to the way you eat in general is a diet. That's your diet. Like, you're not dieting to lose weight, but your food consumption is your diet. And people can't understand that. But anyway, so a lifestyle change is where I recommend we navigate towards, because it focuses on nutrition. It focuses on more flexibility, so you're not restricting, you're not having to feel guilty. And it focuses on setting long-term goals. The issue with something like dieting is, say you're dieting to lose, 20 pounds. I'm just throwing a number out there. Say you're dieting to lose 20 pounds. What happens when you get to that 20 pounds? more often people get into the mind frame where I gotta lose more, I gotta lose more, I gotta lose more, and then they restrict and restrict and restrict, and we talked about that. So, oh my gosh. Hey, you! Hey, you! I'm okay. With a lifestyle change, if your goal is to lose weight, you can do that with a lifestyle change, but it's not focusing solely on dieting, and it's not focusing on restriction. Excuse me. So a lifestyle change is longer term, it's more sustainable, it focuses on better nutrition, better overall health and wellness. It goes beyond losing weight, gaining weight, whatever that goal may be. And it focuses a lot of times on using SMART goals, which dieting can too, but utilizing SMART goals in a lifestyle change is just more effective and more sustainable. So, for example, a lifestyle change, it can be losing weight. And, with a lifestyle change, that would be instead of, say, cutting out carbs as a food group. A lifestyle change may be positioning carbs to where it makes up a quarter of your plate at each meal, or at 2 meals a day, or whatever the case may be. You're not getting rid of it. You are positioning it to where it still works for you and your goals. You realize that you still need that. Look, carbs are a form of energy. They're not only a form of energy, but they have other nutritional properties that are good for your body. Cutting them out, y'all, that can mess up a lot of other stuff that your body's got going on. Like, it can do that, and it can bring your energy way down. Now, when it comes to a lifestyle change, like I said, it goes beyond what you're eating. It can also be a goal and a change of walking more, getting more steps in. It can be a wellness lifestyle change to where you are more mentally and emotionally prepared to handle things and de-stress, because we know that one of the biggest causes of like overeating or choosing unhealthy options or choosing quick options comes from stress. Making a lifestyle change to maybe meditate once a week for 10 minutes. Something like that can also transfer into making healthier choices. In the long term. I will say, typically, a lifestyle change is going to produce results longer. Like, it'll take longer to see results because you're making small changes and then you're adding those small changes onto each other. So you're basically like a ladder effect. And then over time, they all add up to achieve whatever goal you're aiming for. So, for example, if you are trying to lose weight, taking your carbs down to a quarter of your plate, filling half of your plate with vegetables, and the other quarter with, your protein, and then maybe, in 2 weeks, you add on 10 minutes of meditation a week, and then you're doing that on top of the way that you've organized your plate. Maybe next month you add in to walk 2 days out of the week for 15 minutes each time. So now you're walking, you're meditating to de-stress, you're focusing on the way that you're organizing your plate. Maybe in the next month you challenge yourself to add a vegetable to every single meal throughout your day. So now you're doing that, you're getting more nutrients, you're going to feel better overall. You're also still organizing your plate, you're still meditating, you're still walking. All of these lifestyle changes that you're making for better overall health and wellness are eventually going to add up And you're going to see your body adjust itself where it wants to be. If we trusted our bodies, they would end up where they're supposed to be. I love this analogy. You'll see a lot of studies claim children. Children know when they're hungry and they know when they're full. And the majority of children do not have food on their minds the way that adults do. Adults, we're constantly thinking. We put all this stress on ourselves, whether it's that we're overeating or that we are dieting. Oh my gosh, when's my next meal? What am I going to do for it? How many calories is that? We're so in our heads about it. Whereas kids, they trust their bodies. They don't think about it. They eat when they're hungry. They stop when they're full. The problem is, as parents, we are conditioning our kids. You need to sit at the table and finish everything on your plate. You know, you need to, if you're at somebody's house, you need to eat what they've made, even if you're not hungry. So we're conditioning our kids to do these things. When they hit their adult life, they're not as in tune with their bodies anymore. So, you know, it's not that I'm not faulting parents for conditioning their kids that way, because parents aren't doing it in a way that is malicious, you know. But I don't think that as parents we're thinking about that kind of thing. This is why I couldn't have children. But we are unconditioning from their natural body's response, which is, you know, telling them, I'm good, I'm full, I'm fine, let's go play. So as adults, we get out of that, and we have to find a way to get back into trusting our bodies. Dieting puts way too much pressure on us. That's not the way to go about it. It is through these lifestyle changes, because eventually these lifestyle changes, they're not going to add pressure. They are small. They build up over time, and eventually your body's going to do what it's supposed to do. The thing is, it takes a lot more time than these fad diets. So people think, oh, let me just do a fad diet, lose all this weight, and then I'll make health changes. But by the time you get there, you've already ruined your body and your mental state. You know, you've already restricted, and now you can't get out of it. It literally took me some counseling I'm still not even out of it, and that's been years ago. I still have to watch very, very closely, because I do have binge eating disorder. Because I starved my body for so long, I ate 800 calories a day for 6 days a week for at least a year. And my body still doesn't trust me, or I don't trust it, I'm not sure which one at this point, to not allow it to starve. So I went through binge eating disorder, but I still have to be really, really careful. Especially with me, it's really hard. I stress and have anxiety so easily, and that can lead to my binge eating disorder as well. For me, meal prepping has been a lifesaver to make sure that I have nutritious snacks on hand that are lower calorie, but provide nutrient effects, and making sure that I incorporate all of my food groups, protein, carbs. I'm still not at where I want to be. I'm trying to not focus on losing weight. I honestly think that my caloric intake is still pretty low, and I need to add more nutrient dense foods into my diet. That's currently where I am. So I challenged myself this week to buy a bunch of produce, proteins, and carbs from Aldi. So I bought all of that, and I'm gonna make my meals based off of that, so that I am just bringing in each of those components and really trying to focus on my nutrients, because I have gotten away from that a little bit. So making those small changes, I know what I want to do. I'm gonna write them down. I'm gonna set some SMART goals, basically, if you wanted to get started with a lifestyle change, I encourage you to write it down somewhere so that you can consistently look back on it and keep track of what you're doing, where you came from, and where you are, and set SMART goals. So you want something that is specific, something that's measurable, attainable, right? We want to start out small, something that is realistic. So if you work 7 to 4 every day and you have like an hour commute, and here it's about to start turning dark by like 5, chances are you probably can't go walk after work, but you can take a short walk on like your lunch break or something at work. So just make sure that you're setting goals that are going to work for you, that don't have you stressing about on your way home, oh my gosh, another day and I can't walk because it's already dark out and I don't feel safe. Make sure it's something that works for you, okay? And then I don't like the T too much when it comes to lifestyle changes, because it's time-based, and if it's a lifestyle change, there should not be a time on it. So I like to think we're just going to use SMART goals. It doesn't need to be for your life, and each one is going to add on to each other, and it's going to build onto each other. And I don't think that there should be a time limit or time base on those things. So like I said, there's going to be more on our blog. If you guys have questions, comments, if you're new, please comment, introduce yourself. I love to hear about who you guys are. I feel like you're starting to get to know me if you're binging on some of my videos and if you're looking on my blog. So, I love to learn more about my audience. I love to know where you guys are watching from and all that cool stuff and what you guys do. If you have any questions about dieting, BED, or lifestyle changes, I'll be more than happy to offer a little bit of direction. If you are brand new to going into a diet or a lifestyle change, I do recommend you talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian to understand. Some people do need specific diets depending on their health issues. Like the Mediterranean is a very heart-healthy diet. The keto diet is actually scientifically proven to be really good for managing epileptic symptoms or an epilepsy in individuals. So sometimes diets are like realistically beneficial, but it is, for those people, it is a lifestyle for them. So yeah, if you guys have questions, you're always free to comment below. You can email me at faith.ingen101@yahoo.com, or you can fill out a contact form on our website at faithingenellis.com. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.